Well, alright. It's another video of another year of bantam hens with little mountain quail chicks. And kind of a funny year for them. Oh, come on. That's one thing. It's the only thing I don't like about this is sometimes some of the hens, most of the time, not always, they as soon as I put the food or water in, they always, you know, the babies are okay, but the mother hen knocks it over, spills it on the shavings. But this one's got 11, but I didn't start off with 11. It's been a weird year. Usually under a hen, in all the years past that I've ever been doing this with hens, if I stuck 8 or 9 eggs under them, they'd hatch maybe, you know, sometimes 100%, or maybe all but one. But this year, you know, there was always 2 or 3. You know, one never made it to pip, and then there was a couple that got flattened out while they were pipping. And, you know, so, you know, kind of so bad that I had to the point that I had to break the shell open. And they weren't premature. They were ready, plenty ready to hatch. They popped right out after that. And you know, a couple of these might be 1 or 2 of them. They're perfect chicks, but they come from 2 different mothers. And I had them in a shed originally, and I never had any trouble in there. But you know, I'd lose one here and there, and one of them that didn't have a good hatch, he was down to 4. I'd go out in the morning, there'd be another dead one. Damn it. So I said, I gotta get these outside. We're having a nice warm sunny spell. So I took the other 4 and I gave them to this hen, which had 7. Look at those 3 little ones there in the sun. If you can see them, they're spread right out sunning themselves. And so she's taking care of them. The other one doesn't have any chicks now. I had to do that with 2. So the other 2 hens did pretty good. Didn't hatch all their eggs, but you know, they've got 7 apiece, and they're doing good. They're older than these. These are about maybe 3 to 4 days old. They're getting little wing feathers, and you're getting the little wing feathers. Where is he? I'll put it back on auto. Yeah. I gotta put some more water in them in a minute. I keep the ground food right in. I grind it right down for the first week to the consistency of cornmeal, because most brands of starter crumble are a little too coarse for these guys, and they can't swallow it, so then they'd end up dropping, starving to death. Now this here hen, a couple of years ago she didn't set at all, but last year she did really good. This year, this one did good. She hatched, well, there was one that I had to help open, and it was pipped all around and stuck. But she's doing really good. She doesn't mess up the water and food like the other ones seem to do for some reason, and a little bit, not too bad. A few shavings in it, but she's got 11 too. I had to take some from that other mother, and I set 8 eggs under her. She hatched all of them, and I took 3. I think it was, I think those were from the incubator actually. But I stuffed them under her wing when she was on the nest with the others under her, and they took right to it. They usually do. And yeah, she's getting nervous. I don't know what the hell's that thing in here. What are they gonna do? What's he gonna do? Catch us? No, I'll leave it alone. Well, that's that. 2 more in the building set with chicks under them. 2 out here with chicks. And then I've got another setting of eggs that I'm putting in the incubator. And actually in a few minutes, well, in a hatcher, taking them from the incubator. There's about 16 or 18 more mountain quail eggs, and I've got just another couple of small settings. There was 6 fertile out of the last 10, and then well, not the last 10, I got 10, and the next week I scrounged up 12, and I get 8 fertile out of that. So not going to be a super mountain year, but I should have up around 70, 75 birds to sell in the fall. But I noticed one thing as far as the eBay sales and people selling mountain quail eggs on there, they weren't really moving that great, or were bringing a pretty cheap price on the eggs. And a lot of people jumped on the bandwagon of raising mountain quail, but a lot of people can't do it. You know, a lot of people don't know how to hatch under hens, or that it's even possible, or they're not set up for it, and they don't want to get set up for it. And a lot of people don't do the required maintenance. Now, one thing's good with a mother hen: you don't have to debeak your chicks, at least most of the time. I never had to. I know a guy that's had to a couple times, but I've never had chicks toe pick under a bantam hen. Okay, I gotta water this one here. Look at that one all stretched out. No, he's not dead, he's just sunning himself. Hot as hell out here. Guys, it feels like 100, about to melt. So we've had so many. Yeah, see, wake up, take off, scared him off. Alright. Watch I come over and knock this right over. As long as they drink a bunch of times throughout the day. That's the only thing I hate. You gotta babysit the hens. Other than that, it's the way to go. Hopefully next year they'll be back doing it right without you having to juggle birds around and take some away from some of the hens. They'll chalk it up to just a freak season. But yeah, a lot of people aren't set up for doing this. I don't have the confidence to try it. I've explained it to a lot of people, and you know, over and over, and they just can't seem to catch on. And it's really fairly simple. If you get a small hen that's from broody stock, like these little old English game bantams, they're a small hen. They're not a whole lot bigger than a mountain quail, so they're gentle on the chick. Some people say, "Oh, silkies are great setters." Yeah, but silkies are big, they're heavy, they got the feather legs, and they'll drag the chicks around. And when they, you know, these step on the chicks a lot, but it doesn't seem to hurt them. You know, you get the weight of a silkie stepping on them and getting dragged around on those leg feathers all the time. That'll, you know, that can hurt and kill a few of the chicks. So I don't recommend those. But you get these small, even Saramas, they're known as a broody bird, and they're even smaller than these. You'd probably get a couple less eggs under them, but that's all right to hatch small clutches if you get the hens that are broody, and you get the pens to do it in. Now you can't put 2 hens and 2 clutches together in the same pen. They'll kill each other's chicks, and you can't have a rooster in here at the same time. I have them together. What I do is I keep them, like, say, a rooster, maybe 4 or 5 hens in a pen this size. I take them out of the chicken coop. I let them free range around a little bit in the spring, and then it looks like, you know, they go back in the coop and start laying a bit, and then I'll bring them in here, and they'll keep laying for a while. And I'll always leave, all you need is 1 or 2 dummy eggs in the nest. I'll put a pencil mark on them, like an X on each side, so I know which are which, and they'll keep laying about every day. And you know, they're trying to build up a little clutch, but a couple dummy eggs will cover it. And then you'll see one staying on the nest a little bit longer every day. Then before you know it, she's on just about all day every day, unless it's to get off to eat and drink and shit a couple times a day. So you know, then you got one what I call setting serious. So then what I do is I come out and slide those dummy eggs out from under her and slip some fertile eggs that I've already candled. There's no sense of putting them under if you haven't candled them. I mean, who wants to waste a hen with a dud egg or two? So anything, you know, most of my mountain quail eggs are always fertile anyway, either 90 something to 100%. You know, being colony bred with a few males in there, a 1-to-5 ratio, male to hen is all you need. And so once she's setting serious, I'll take the other hens and rooster out, put them in another pen, and then eventually, usually another one will go broody, and then another one, and before you know it, you get, you know, a bunch of hens broody. So every week's setting of eggs in your incubator, you can candle and take the dummy eggs out and slip them in under the hen, and she doesn't know the difference, and she'll turn them and take care of them. And then on the 25th, 26th day, you'll get a little hatch, and so then you'll put your feed and your groundwater and your shallow lids, and this one's a little GQF chick water. For the first couple days I'll put a lid under that and a little bit of water in that, so they can, because they're smaller, you know, they can, you see, don't think of reaching up there, they can see the water in the lid and drink that, and then eventually, probably within the first day or two, they'll catch right on drinking out of there. Maybe they would to begin with, but I like to play safe. So yeah, that's it. And I'll keep them in here with them till she acts like she doesn't want them anymore. Sometimes they, you know, they're about 5-6 inches tall. We've got a lot of feathers coming in. Sometimes you know, a little bit older than that. Then a lot of times I'll see, you know, she'll start laying again, and that's when I'll definitely take them out, because once in a while I can get a second setting on them, because the elegant quail, Benson's, that I've got down below, they don't start laying here in May until late June, early July. Some of them don't get going till into July, maybe even August, but they'll usually go through August, whatever. So I can get a second setting out of some of those hens, so they really earn their keep when I can raise 2 clutches of quail under each hen. They don't all do that, but a few of them do. So, and then other people, as far as incubating and brooding, I don't know how many people, you know, it sounded like a broken record, trying to teach them how to take care of mountain quail, how to hatch them, and how to brood them. And I tell them, with mountain quail and brooders, you have to have, you know, a red light, but you can't cook them. You can't put a big 150, 125, or 250 watt light bulb in a plastic tote right down to the floor, right in the middle. You'll see them all bunched up in the corners trying to get away from the heat, hot as hell. Or if you leave it too high, they'll be all balled up under the beam of light, trying to get some heat. And but then the main thing is with these things, even if you get all that right, and you know, I've shown my brooder set up in here, I'll do it again in a little while. I've got a few brooders with some in them. Yeah, you've got to debeak your chicks. As soon as they lose that little egg tooth at about 3 days old, take a pair of sharp fingernail clippers and knock that little sharp point off the tip of their beaks. And I tell people that, and it's yeah, and they might try it the first week and then think, they can get by. Second week, they'll see one standing on one foot, limping, another chick reaching up underneath, pecking them, blood on the shavings. Try to put them on wired, and the feet stand out like a sore thumb. And then you got a major picking frenzy, and then before you know it, then they have to debeak them for sure. Separate them all out. Keep putting some ointment to their toes, and then they got to scratch that itch. They'll pick at their own toes, and before you know it, you've got a bunch of chicks with stubs and partial toes and missing toenails, and then they'll put them up for sale for full price. You know, some of these jerks charging 150, 200, 175 bucks a pair for mountain quail. Since Facebook came out, it just brought on a ton of shysters, and they don't think anything, and they won't even say anything. They'll send you mountain quail with missing toes. So you want to buy from a reputable breeder, one of us old timers that's been doing it for years, with an honest reputation. I've got the reputation of a guy that's pissed off all the time, and I'm not afraid to write about them and do posts on these assholes on Facebook. And a lot of people, snowflakes that don't like it. Oh, he's a bad man, he talks about people. Well, what I'm doing is trying to save people a lot of money and grief and expose these fucking jerks, is what I'm doing. And giving a nice tour and writing decent posts on the birds. And I won't stop doing it. As long as there's people like that in the business, and a lot of them I might not even bother with, but they've messed with me before and caused me a lot of, put it this way, stress and anger. So, yeah, and who wouldn't be angry when you got a guy mouthing off, and especially after you help get him set up, and I go on and on. But read my posts on my website, www.mainly-quail.com, and I've got a list of posts on there. Quite long on a lot of people I've dealt with since Facebook came out in the last 4 or 5 years since I've had the internet. Well, anyway, this camera's probably about to stop recording. I'm going to shut it off, and there's your mountain quail lesson. We'll see you later.